While we have heard a lot about Lord Zed and Emperor Mavro, the Power Rangers universe is filled with a plethora of villains. These villains may have appeared in specific Power Rangers seasons decades ago, or played minor recurring roles across the franchise. In any case, they deserve a lot more recognition, and today, we shall explore the top 12 underrated Power Rangers villains of all time. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you, and let's begin. Machine Empire, Zeo. Also known as the Empire, this intergalactic organization comprised countless robots who came together to stir up a lot of trouble in Power Rangers Zeo. Their origins are shrouded in mystery, but they managed to collect quite an arsenal of weapons and high-tech gadgets and conquered innumerable planets under the leadership of King Mondo. The Machine Empire was known for their specialized warfighters known as Quadra-fighters, and they soon set their eyes on Earth. By this point, they had garnered such an evil reputation that even the likes of Rita Repulsa and Lord Zed were terrified of what would become of them once King Mondo unleashed hell on Earth. Soon enough, Mondo advanced to Earth after defecting from the United Alliance of Evil and set up his base on the moon alongside his wife, Queen Machina. They sent the Quadra fighters to inspect Earth's defenses and were pleasantly surprised to learn that the planet was practically defenseless and that they should not have trouble conquering it. Soon enough, Mondo sent a horde of cogs to kickstart his invasion, which turns into a season-long struggle against the Zeo Power Rangers, who did their best to subdue the Machine Empire. Scorpina, Mighty Morphin. Introduced as one of the mightiest enforcers on Rita Repulsa's team, Scorpina was initially a minor villain who rose in her ranks and assumed the role of the primary antagonist in the Mighty Morphin series. She first appeared in the series after the original Megazord defeated Tommy, and Rita then decided to summon Scorpina to strengthen her forces. Soon enough, Scorpina first faced the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers in the Warehouse District, but she strikingly defeated them and teleported away in no time. Over the course of the series, Rita relied on Scorpina to face the Power Rangers over and over again, and her ruthless nature and wide arsenal of weapons ensured that she had a high victory rate. In her true form, Scorpina was a witch, and she also had a purple wand with a striking red jewel that helped her generate a lightning wave capable of killing her opponents. She had the ability to fire blue lightning blasts, enlarge her body, teleport to the battle site, and even summon monsters with a snap of a finger. While her abilities were quite impressive, Scorpina's charm laid in her feral personality, and she came across as an arrogant, sadistic villain who intimidated and annihilated anyone in her path. Camille, Jungle Fury. While Camille eventually turned over to the good side in Power Rangers Jungle Fury, she was introduced as the secondary villain of the show. It was said that she had served the Daishi religiously for hundreds of years, to the point where she even remained in his palace wall for 10,000 years until he returned to life in Jared's body. Soon enough, Camille was reinstated as his second in command, and she devoted her entire life to pleasing him, even if it meant that she had to regularly withstand the claw cannon and absorb its energy to keep herself going. While she dedicated most of her career to serving Daishi and even fighting the Power Rangers for him, she eventually saw the light and redeemed herself by aiding the Rangers in their victory against her former master. This is one of the reasons why she deserves more limelight, as her character shows true growth throughout the show and develops a strong sense of morality. Besides her redemption arc, Camille also stands out due to her brutal nature, and she often sought pleasure in torturing her victims in sadistic ways, while at the same time following a strict honor code when it comes to battles. Most villains sent their minions to fight their battles, while Camille did not back down from a fight and always put herself on the front lines. Frax, Time Force. Originally introduced as a human roboticist named Dr. Louis Frax, Frax took quite an interest in conducting experiments in genetics and toxinology and went to great lengths to experiment with synthetic life. He first appeared in Power Rangers Time Force, wherein his character was gravely injured when Ranzik blew up his lab and even stole all his technology. Now that he was on the verge of death, Dr. Frax had no option but to apply his research, become a cyborg to survive, and even join joined hands with Ranzik. While it is unknown why Frax chose to get so close to Ranzik, they became the best of allies until Frax bid his time to take his revenge. Sadly, Ranzik did figure out his true motives, and he teamed up with Nadira to reprogram Frax into only obeying him. Sadly, Frax's revenge plans were quite unsuccessful, and Ranzik ultimately killed him off after he failed to keep the Doomtron safe. Frax's story arc started as a kind-hearted doctor, and it sadly ended with him dying a cruel death at the hands of the same man who had led him to turn into a cyborg. To his credit, Frax tried to turn over a new leaf after meeting Nadira, but sadly he was soon reprogrammed and killed off before he could get in touch with his humanity. Finster, Mighty Morphin. Appearing as a genius-level alchemist in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, Finster is best known for being the man behind all the monsters' creations that aided Rita Repulsa and Lord Zed in their battles. He single-handedly steered up a lot of trouble by creating these strange monstrosities, earning a reputation as a major antagonist known as the Master of Monsters. While his origins are shrouded in mystery, we know that he joined the evil space aliens at some point and helped Rita out in her attempts to create a monster army. Finster was soon enough imprisoned for his crimes, but he was set free around the events of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and he immediately jumped back into his role and created the Putty Patrollers, among other monsters. He continued to stir up a lot of trouble, even in the Zeo series, and is known for his steely reputation as the man who never backs away from his duty of creating new entities that would plague the Power Rangers. While he sometimes lacked the resources to help his recruiters, Finster was known for his determination and wisdom. He always took his job seriously and was an immortal being who always lingered around to lend Rita or Zed a helping hand.
This is not looking good.
Shimatsu, Ninja Storm. Appearing in the form of one of the generals in Lothor's army in the Ninja Storm series, Shimatsu first stirred up trouble about 2,000 years ago. In this prehistoric age, Shimatsu launched an attack on a local village and attained a statue of an ancient warlord whose spirit had to be captured and sealed within a mask. In the present day, he was accidentally reincarnated by Motodrone, and he then proceeded to join Lothor's army and even unleashed monstrous wolf-like creatures known as the Wolfblades. The Power Rangers were awestruck by these creatures, but they managed to defeat the Wolfblades, and Shimatsu's intentions soon turned evil. He became obsessed with defeating Lothor himself, and his ambition led to his downfall, as many of Lothor's faithful soldiers lured him into a trap and beat him. However, Shimatsu's mask somehow remained intact, and it is said that the mask holds his true spirit, which is capable of returning to life any day. It is quite unfortunate that Shimatsu remains such an underrated character, especially since he is powerful enough to defeat all 6 Rangers simultaneously. Optimus the Master, Mystic Force. Optimus the Master was a gigantic tentacled monster who managed to terrorize most kids who tuned into the Power Rangers Mystic Force series. While this was a kids show, Optimus was unlike any Power Rangers villain we had seen so far, and he had an ominous dark aura that sent shivers down our spines whenever he appeared on screen. He was known to be the supreme master of the underworld, and he hoped to destroy all the good magic and spread his darkness all over the world. He also had the ability to possess and brainwash humans into working for him, and he felt no remorse for his actions and only continued to spread his terror until he had established himself as the god of the new corrupt universe. While most Power Rangers villains had some running gags or comedic traits, Optimus was a menacing character who only invoked feelings of fear in the hearts of his opponents as well as the young viewers. While Leanbow had once managed to seal Optimus in the deepest pits of the underworld in the past, Optimus could not be subdued for long, and he always managed to bounce back and stir up more and more trouble for the Rangers. Morticon, Mystic Force. Known as the first general of the Morlocks, Morticon started as the main villain in the Power Rangers Mystic Force. He worked under the command of Optimus the Master, and he eventually worked alongside Korag to rule over the Morlocks and escape to the surface. Most of Morticon's story arc revolved around his attempts to break free from the underworld, which he finally managed to do after assuming a giant form and defeating the Titan Megazord using his dark magic. Throughout the season, he continued to stir up more trouble for the Rangers until until one day the Rangers teamed up with Yodana to bring him down. While he was eventually bested by his opponents, Morticon certainly gave them a hard time for most of his story arc. His access to the dark magic control stream made him a formidable opponent, and he could quite literally fire a stream of dark magic from his hand. Morticon also possessed a sword known as the Fang of the Master, a powerful tool that could defeat the Titan Megazord and the Mystic Dragon in no time.
Let's do this!
The Squad SPD. Sadly known for their betrayal of the Power Rangers cause, the Squad appeared as one of the minor villains in Power Rangers SPD, where they initially served as a part of the Space Patrol Delta. When they first started, they gained a reputation as one of the most elite teams to ever protect Earth until they went missing one day. While everyone assumed they were lost, this was far from true, as they defected to the dark side and helped Emperor Grum expand the Trubian Empire. This squad of villains especially stands out as they were one of the first characters to defect to the bad side after gaining a reputation as heroes, and it's a shame that they remained underrated. Eventually, the A Squad had to face an accomplished B Squad who easily defeated and replaced them. Just like most Power Rangers squads, the A Squad consisted of the red, blue, green, yellow, and pink Rangers, but they had some unique powers such as the ability to morph without the help of a morpher. Besides being exceptionally strong and durable, the A Squad could come together to assemble a Megazord that could fire powerful lightning blasts from its head and waist and annihilate anyone in its path. Norg, Operation Overdrive. Appearing in the form of a Yeti, Norg was one of the most susceptible villains on this list, and he primarily appeared in Power Rangers Operation Overdrive. While he was not mean-spirited by nature, Norg lacked the critical thinking skills to be able to differentiate between the good and the bad. He often served under the villainous Florius, who manipulated Norg and used his dim-wittedness to his advantage. Norg primarily resided with Florius and the Chillers and viewed them as his friends without ever realizing their evil nature. In fact, he went to great lengths to defend them on occasions, and he indirectly became a bother to the Power Rangers without ever meaning to cause them any harm. While he eventually ended up helping them as well, he mostly fought for Florius and turned out to be quite deadly on the battlefield, which resulted in him being perceived as a threat or even a villain in Operation Overdrive. Vexus, Ninja Storm. Initially starting as Lothor's sworn enemy, Vexus garnered more power over the course of the Ninja Storm series and eventually assumed the role of the head general in Lothor's army. He had shark-like appearance and was even capable of summoning a giant shark in battle. Vexus was known as one of the most accomplished bounty hunters in Ninja Storm, and his choice of weapon was a sword and a fan battle, which he often used to capture his bounties. In fact, he was chasing down a Carmanian alien in his first appearance, and he later used these weapons to fight the Thunder Rangers and defeated the Thunderstorm Megazord. Besides these, Vexus boasted immense strength and fighting abilities, and on several occasions he gave Lothor a tough fight and even faced all the Rangers at once. He had a typical bounty hunter mindset and was one of the most cunning, remorseless villains in the history of the Power Rangers franchise. Vexus was consumed by feelings of hatred and revenge, and he was known to always keep a grudge and pursued his rivals until he taught them a cruel lesson. At the same time, he was one of the most patient characters in Ninja Storm, and he hardly ever raised his voice or acted harshly upon being provoked. It's quite a shame that he went mostly unnoticed over the years, and Vexus inarguably deserves more flowers to his role as a stoic, composed villain.
I would have bet on it!
Well, I would!
Devet, Lost Galaxy. Introduced as the secondary villain of Power Rangers Lost Galaxy, Devet was one of the last generals in Scorpius' army until he decided to betray them and embarked on a journey of his own. In fact, Devet was so brutal that he killed Scorpius and then tried to kill Scorpina until he realized that he would need to fuse himself with her body to save himself. In this regard, Devet comes across as one of the most self-centered villains in the Power Rangers universe, and he only ever did things that would benefit him. He would also ally with just about anyone who might help him attain greater power, and he mostly wandered in the world as a psychopathic bounty hunter who hid his true personality under a polite, sophisticated mask. Devet was a power-hungry robot in the truest senses, and he even corrupted Scorpina's mind entirely when he fused with her. Among other things, Devet's strength lay in his ability to shapeshift, teleport, summon monsters, and fire red lasers from his eyes. He was also quite durable and strong, strong, and he had a vast arsenal of weapons such as blaster gauntlets and energy lasers at his disposal. Marvelous verdict. To wrap things up, the Power Rangers universe introduced us to some interesting personalities. Whether in the form of the benevolent Rangers or the mean-spirited villains, some of these characters were truly overshadowed by other more striking personalities, but that does not mean that they lack in their capabilities in any way. From Scorpina's witchy powers to Morticon's brute force, we hope that this video sheds light on some more underrated villains that were forgotten over time, and do let us know your favorites in the comment box below. As always, if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks, everyone.